Battlebit Remastered just got an update a few hours ago, and I must say it's probably one of the biggest updates we've had in a while. There's a lot of changes, a lot of good changes, UI, UX changes, gameplay changes, new map, new game mode, new weapon. There is just an absolute ton of things to go through in update 2.2.2. So without further ado, I'll get stuck right into this. There'll be a link in the description down below if you want to go and read the entirety of the patch notes for yourselves, but a lot of good changes in here, and I can't wait to jump in and give them all a try. So first and foremost, a new map, Outskirts. So I think as far as what they said, this map was based off of the old district layer. You can see a few screenshots on screen right now. So on the left of these screenshots is the new map called Outskirts, and on the right is the old district layer, which is what the map is based on. Seems to be very industrial, but I can't wait to get into this new map. The other big addition in this update was the invasion game mode. So if you've ever played Battlefield 1, you might be familiar with the operations game mode, which required one team to push into objectives that the defending team had to defend. So for every sector, basically the enemy or the defending team would move back and the attacking team would move forward and have another set of objectives to capture. It doesn't work quite like Frontlines because you can't really go and recap the objectives or the sectors that have already been captured as a defending team. It's very much the attacking team moves forward, and if they don't, well, they lose, and there's no going back and forth like in Frontlines. And generally speaking, objectives are kind of placed all within like a certain slice of the map. And I really enjoyed operations in Battlefield 1. Curious to see how Invasion will be in here and how the balance will be for the maps, but definitely excited to give Invasion a try. Not quite sure if it goes from map to map or if it's only a single map, and also not sure if teams change sides much like they do in Rush, which I hope they don't, because that would make for insanely long games of Invasion. There's also a brand new weapon that was added for the support class, so the RPK-16. This weapon is available at level 35. So here's a little sneak peek at the weapon on screen right now. 32 damage. It seems to have similar stats to the other light support guns like the L86 and the MG36. A bit of a slower fire rate and 45 rounds in the magazine. Definitely great to have an extra weapon for the support class, as they were really lacking. So I didn't know whether to put this in the UI/UX changes or just talk about it in new additions, but the weapon skins system has been completely remade. So if you go and modify the camouflage of weapon now, you still have access to like the just flat out skins that are available. So for example, this one is the Twitch Rivals one for the M4A1, but you can also go and modify the skins a little bit more if you go into the none section and apply different camos. So for example, here I'm on pattern 3 and I'm in the master camos. So as you can see, my weapon attachments are gold, and then the primary color is a bronze-like color. But then you can go ahead and switch, for example, the primary color here, put it to gold, and then the secondary color, when you right-click, it'll change the attachments. So you can get a lot more creative with weapon attachments and their colors and how you skin out or pimp out your weapons in BattleBit, and I'm all for that. And the last new addition that was made in this update is a target detector. So the way this works is basically if you aim down sight at an enemy, it will just automatically spot them for you. It won't spot them if they're behind bushes or something that's made to obstruct your view. Curious to see if this will function or not through smoke. I hope it doesn't. So this is very reminiscent of an attachment that was in Battlefield 4, which was also the target detector. So yeah, pretty basic attachment, just spots targets for you when you're aiming at them. Gameplay changes. So bandage healing was increased to 50 HP. Bandaging self will be the same speed for all classes, so the same speed as the current medic. Bandaging allies is slightly faster for all classes, but medic is still the fastest, so making a little balance change in terms of bandaging, because bandaging, if you weren't a medic, was really painful and could be really dangerous because it took so long to do. Last death location will be displayed on deploy screen until player deploys, so that's a neat little addition right there. The 3D pinging was added, so they completely revamped the whole giving out orders and pinging system, which I'll show you in a little bit. Dusty Do, so domination objectives, was moved in more linear by closing gaps between towns and middle of map objectives. Fight on domination should be more intensive. So if you didn't play Dusty Do since the rework of it, domination was really bad. The map was far too big and there was a lot of unutilized space, which just made it so people would sit in the middle of nowhere, not even near the objectives. It was kind of boring, to be honest. So hopefully this fixes these issues a little bit. They also added abandoned buildings between town and middle point of map to provide more cover, which is great. They added the bipod to the LED6A1 and the MG36. This next point is important because it's a big one. Weapons have been reclassified and they have been redistributed between classes. So if we look in the class section, or the loadout section right now, for example, assault, all the weapons have been recategorized, so carbines, battle rifles, personal defense weapons, submachine guns, designated marksman rifles, automatic rifles, and then the list keeps going on. You can see some classes have lost access to certain weapons and some classes have gained access to others. For example, here if I go support, as you can see, you have the light support guns, light machine guns, and you also have access to certain battle rifles, which is absolutely fantastic for the support class because weapons were lacking. I'll leave an image linked in the description section with all the weapons and which class has access to which, because it would be a little bit too long to go through the entirety of it in the video. So moving on from that, sniper spots will last 2x longer than regular pings. So regular pings are 4 seconds and the recon's pings will now be 8 seconds. Snipers' medium range scopes glint will be visible between 200 and 800 meters. So no longer will you have a sniper out in the middle of nowhere with like an ACOG with no clue where he is. That scope will now glint if he is further away than 200 meters and closer than 800 meters. Medium scope, so snipers only, the angle requirement for glint to become visible has been significantly reduced, and particle effects for bullet impacts have been improved to make it easier to see where shots are landing. Moving on to bug fixes, so unable to place HESCO walls on slope terrain has been fixed. Sniper glint will no longer be visible through foliage. Players will no longer be able to spot players through tree/bush foliage. Voice chat delay reduced by lowering the network batching. In short, the voice chat will be more closer to real time by trading transmitted packet count. Moving on to UI/UX changes, so they completely reworked the loadout HUD, which before was pretty basic, and now you have way more stats on your weapon, like the damage drop off, where it starts, where it ends. You get now additional stats for weapons instead of having just the actual box saying like primary gadget, secondary gadget. It's now just an image, so you know which one is what. So overall, a pretty good rework. The UI of the flag has been moved up so as to not interfere with the environment, which is absolutely fantastic. I hated when the flag icon would just be right there in the middle of the screen when you're trying to shoot at an enemy. Cull-friendly icon setting has been added. You can disable it if you want. Gameplay map opacity setting was added. They added UI for friendly thrown grenades/smokes to indicate its ally. Map name, game mode, and server name will be displayed on deploy screen, which is great because sometimes you're playing in a match and you don't even know what the server is. So now you'll have the ability to see the name of the server if you want to go put in your favorites. Same thing for the game mode and the map name. UI changes on squad menu and deploy screen to indicate who is the squad leader. That's great because there wasn't really an indicator in the squad member list to tell you who the squad leader is. You had to either go in the scoreboard and search for their name with the star next to them, or filter it by squad if you really wanted to. So it really just wasn't clear who the squad leader was, and oftentimes the squad leader didn't even know who they were, so they didn't give orders and they didn't put down rally points. So hopefully this will help alleviate the issues a little bit. The compass on the bottom is now less crowded for better readability. Moving on to weapon changes. So the LD6A1 damage increased from 31 to 32. Light vehicle damage increased from 4 to 6. Velocity increased from 650 to 700. ADS time lowered from 0.3 seconds to 0.24 seconds. And the running speed has been increased from 0.95 to 0.975. MG36 light vehicle damage increased from 4 to 7. Vertical recoil lowered from 1.8 to 1.6. Velocity increased from 600 to 680. ADS time lowered from 0.3 to 0.24. Running speed increased from 0.95 to 0.975. Reload speed increased from 1 to 1.15, so 4.73 seconds down to 4.12 seconds. M249 damage increased from 30 to 31. Light vehicle damage increased from 3 to 6, and the velocity increased from 600 to 690. Ultimax velocity increased from 600 to 700. For the AK-74, damage increased from 31 to 32, light damage increased from 4 to 6, vertical recoil lowered from 1.5 to 1.4, horizontal recoil increased from 0.6 to 0.8, velocity increased from 700 to 720, ADS time lowered from 0.25 to 0.23 seconds, reload speed increased from 1 to 1.1, so 4 seconds to 3.64 seconds, M4A1, light damage increased from 4 to 5, vertical recoil lowered from 1.5 to 1.4, horizontal recoil increased from from 0.6 to 0.7. Reload speed increased from 1 to 1.1, so 4.17 seconds down to 3.79 seconds. The ACR damage increased from 27 to 28. Light damage increased from 2 to 4. Vertical recoil lowered from 1.4 to 1.3. Horizontal recoil lowered from 0.8 to 0.7. ADS time lowered from 0.21 to 0.18 seconds. Reload speed increased from 1 to 1.1, so 3.73 seconds down to 3.39 seconds. The G36C damage increased from 30 to 31. Light damage increased from 2 to 5. Horizontal recoil decreased from 0.84 to 0.80. Velocity increased from 600 to 660. ADS time lowered from 0.25 to 0.23. HK419 damage lowered from 31 to 30. Light damage lowered from 6 to 5. ADS time lowered from 0.25 to 0.23. The AK5C light damage increased from 4 to 6. Vertical recoil lowered from 1.6 to 1.5. Horizontal recoil lowered from 1.4 to 1.3. ADS time lowered for 0.24 to 0.23 seconds. And the reload speed has been increased from 1.125 to 1.3. So from 4.53 second reload to a 3.92 second reload. The F2000 damage increased from 23 to 24. Velocity increased from 700 to 710. Damage fall off start has been increased from 50 to 75 meters. The AUG A3, so light damage lowered from 12 to 16, so down by a half. The SG550 damage increased from 27 to 29. Light damage increased from 4 to 5. Velocity increased from 640 to 680. Fire rate lowered from 700 to 670. And the ADS time increased from 0.14 seconds to 0.15 seconds. And finally, and certainly not the least, the FAMAS. Light damage increased from 0 to 4. Horizontal recoil lowered from 1 to 0.9. Velocity increased from 600 to 640. And the ADS time has been lowered from 0.25 seconds to 0.2 seconds. Whew, so that does it for update 2.2.2 for Battlebit Remastered. Just a ton of changes, new additions, just a whole lot of stuff to try out in Battlebit, and right before the free weekend drops, as well as Twitch Rivals, which is absolutely fantastic. People that are coming in will be playing a game that is probably in the best state it has been since it released on Steam for everybody. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. I think I covered everything. Again, link in the description down below if you want to go and read the entirety of the patch notes for yourselves. But yeah, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.